So last night I had a pretty profound and powerful dream. I can't remember like every single bit of it, and it's weird because I never share dreams on here, but the Lord asked me to share this one, so it must have some significance. And I've been seeing little signs and wonders of him since this morning. So like for instance, in this dream, I had dreamt that I had seen an angel in the dream, right? And I'll get to that in a minute. Then as I was checking out the one channel that I watch that puts out daily words, I don't like to always drop other people's channels names on here, right? But this other channel, their word for today of a few was angelic activity surrounds you. And I was like, that's so weird because I never dream about angels, and I had this angel dream, right? And then as I go checking up on the words, there's a dream about angelic activity. So I checked out the word, and it was basically confirming, that yes, there's in fact angelic activity going on around you. And I was like, what are the odds that I randomly, because for one, I don't always remember my dreams. So for two, that I did, and that when I woke up, I knew the Lord was pointing something significant out to me. I dream of an angel being in the dream, and then this specific channel that I tune into all the time, one of their words is about angelic activity on the same morning, just posted hours after I'd woken up. And they never talk about angels, rarely ever on that channel, right? So that was just so weird. Then the Lord was showing me the number 119. So just over and over again. And so I went and looked up 119 in Strong's Concordance, and it said that it's to be ready or to be read or something along those lines. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound right. Then he led me in my search down towards the bottom of the page, Psalm 119, and confirmed, yes, that's it. I'm like, oh, Psalm 119. So then I go and I read Psalm 119, the KJV version, and it fits perfectly with my current situation, right? So then because I looked up Psalm 119, I was led to another version of it. And there was actually a few versions that came up, but this version was the one that the Lord wanted me to focus in on. So I'm going to try to pull up that version if I can, because when I'm recording, just a second, I'm going to see if I can find it on my other device. Because when I'm recording, I can't click off, because I've tried to do that before and it just cut the video off. So I'm going to see if I can. Sorry, just give me one moment. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is the version. So there's many different versions of the Psalm, of course, and of course you can always, I encourage you to read your Bible and find from the Lord what your version is that he's sending to you, right? But this is a version I've never heard of. It was available to me on the Bible Gateway. So I searched up Psalm 119, and then it gave me obviously various sites, but it showed me the Bible Gateway, which is one I frequent quite a bit, and it starts out with the NIV version. But then the Lord led me to this different version that I'm not familiar with, called Gimel or something, Gimel version, or Gimel Resource, and I'm just going to read it out loud. So it says, "Be good to your servant while I live, that I may obey your word. Open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law. I am a stranger on earth. Do not hide your commands from me. My soul is consumed with longing for your laws at all times. You rebuke the arrogant who are accursed, those who stray from your commands. Remove from me their scorn and contempt, for I keep your statutes. Though rulers sit together and slander me, your servant will meditate on your decrees. Your statutes are my delight, they are my counselors." So without going into too much detail, that the psalm itself in any version is what the Lord is speaking to me specifically today. And I asked him if he wanted this word to be just for me, which sometimes they are, if he wanted me to share and post, and he said he wanted me to share and post. Then he also led me to this other version, this Gimel version, which is one I haven't read or I'm not familiar with. And it's kind of odd in the first place that I even came across it. But I know for myself, and I know for others, that others are going through these type of circumstances at this time, or maybe perhaps you're basically being a good servant to the Lord. You're obeying his word, but you feel like a stranger on the earth and a stranger to those around you, right? To all the other kind of people that surround you. Your soul is consumed with longing for his laws at all times. So you spend your days trying to be holy and righteous and keeping your attention focused on the Lord. The Lord is assuring you that he rebukes the arrogant. They are accursed, those that stray from his commands. They've tried to put their scorn and contempt on you for keeping the Lord's statutes and for upholding him. And though they sit together and slander you, you, his servant, will still meditate on his laws and decrees, because his statutes are your delight and they are your counselors. So despite what others may be doing around you, despite what the world or the worldly people are doing, how they may slander you, they are cursed. The Lord confirms that. And they don't keep his statutes and laws, and that you're aware you're his servant, and he's aware that you're his servant. And like I put on my last word, he's proud of you for how you despite what comes your way, and despite the fact that you feel like you're in a minority on the earth, you still choose to keep your obedience and your focus on him, right? And that leads me into, which is funny because I started with that, but that ties into the dream I had. So all morning here, the Lord's been confirming, like revealing and unveiling this as it goes together, knits together one piece together with another. So back to the dream. I can't remember all the bits and pieces, but I know it was quite the dream. I had dreamt that I saw a mask in my dream, and the mask had a long Pinocchio type nose on it, which, as we know from the movie Pinocchio, describes just like when Pinocchio would lie, his nose would grow, right? And eventually the more lies he told, the longer his nose grew. Well, I saw this like mask of this long nose, and I was being like paid attention to it, like pointed out that like, hey, check out the long nose. It's like Pinocchio, it means deceit. And this mask, no one was wearing it, but it was sitting on top of a garbage can, like a sealed garbage can outside. Because this portion of the dream was taking place outside. And so it was wintertime, and there was like a little bit of snow and ice on the ground. And so my attention was first directed to this mask that was just like basically a nose, a long Pinocchio style nose that you'd put on over your nose as like, say, for dressing up or something, right? And no one was wearing it, but it looked like it was being shown to me that many different people had maybe worn it, or a few in particular, but at this present time no one was wearing it. It was sitting on top of the garbage can as if it was being thrown, as if it had been thrown out, like it was no longer able to be worn anymore. And it was pointing out that the nose part was quite long, meaning that whoever had been wearing it in the past had told several lies, and I'm assuming in regards to me, like been deceitful in regards to myself, right? And so that's why the nose portion was like that. But that basically that they had thrown it out because the Lord had thrown it out. The Lord had thrown out that deceit. So whether it be because the Lord had trumped that, or it was because it wasn't working anymore, the telling of the lies, I wasn't buying the deceit. Either way, this mask was deemed trash, like unnecessary garbage, right? And could no longer be used by the parties that had been using it, and no longer could be used for whatever purposes in regards to myself. I was no longer buying what they were trying to sell, right? I was aware, like in the movie, how you're aware that Pinocchio's nose grows when he lies. I was aware that that's what had been happening. So maybe at one point in time, it was a successful mission to use this mask, but it no longer was, right? And so the Lord had thrown that into the trash where it belonged. Then right after my attention was put there, the Lord redirected my attention towards this. I saw like an ice object in the snow, and I picked it up, and it was this small angel. Like it looked like a angel carved in ice. And so I don't know, maybe because it's winter and I'm in Canada, we're not too snowy and icy yet, but we do get snowy and icy here. So maybe that was what it was showing. But it was showing that this angel was carved like in an ice block, and it was like perfectly carved angel. And I knew as soon as I picked it, I was like, oh, what's that? And I picked it up and looked, and I saw, oh, it's an angel. I recognized it right away. And so it was laying in the snow. And then I probably would have known more, but just shortly, like 2 minutes after I remember all of that, my son came and woke me up, and I was woken up, and I was in a deep, deep sleep. So I know the Lord was using last night to show me images in my sleep, right, in my dream state. And he was showing me that there was this Pinocchio style mask that had been thrown into the trash. It was no longer useful. And then after that, not before that, but after that, I saw this carving of the angel. So it almost led me to believe that like angels are protecting me to ensure that no one can deceive me, right? That the deception will no longer work, whether it's being used by these parties I know personally, or just like on a global scale, like how we all know that our, certain officials are deceiving us on a global national scale as well, right? So just that deceit in general. So I think, it obviously was for me personally, but the Lord wanted me to post this out. So I'm putting this as an encouraging word to let you know that the deceit trick is being known, it's being discovered, no different than how you could notice Pinocchio's nose growing and know what was going on. It's the same thing. The world is waking up now that we're nearing the end of 2023. No longer can these masks be hiding the deceit no longer. It's the nose on the mask was like a foot long, so it was very obvious what it was, and it has been deemed as trash, whether by the parties wearing it or by the Lord. Either or, it doesn't matter. It's of no use any longer. And that angels are keeping watch over us in the present time, because like I said, there was snow and ice on the ground as if it was winter, which, as we know, the middle of this month marks the beginning of winter, the winter season. So we're going to see, as the winter season kicks off, up and coming, and we're entering into it, that there's going to be more and more angelic activity watching over us and protecting us and keeping us safe, sent from the Lord, from this deceit that's been going on in our personal, individual lives, but also on a global, national scale, right? So just check out Psalm 119 and just notice, now that this has been posted, if there's been any angelic activity that's came close to you, because then it was confirmed through the word I saw this morning, where another prophet was sharing that yes, there was angelic activity happening. And then, like I said, it coincided with the dream I had last night about the angel carved in ice. So if I receive more details, I will update it, right? I will update with another post. But this was a beautiful message, and I hope it can bless someone and encourage them like it blessed and encouraged me. God bless.